Welcome back, everyone. I've got a lot of emails and messages and comments about basic art journaling supplies and where to start and what to buy. So I thought I'd do a little tutorial on that before we go on to the next step in our watercolor crayon series. So let's start with journals. Now, it is all, in my opinion, a matter of preference. So before I start that, I'm gonna talk about that. I have a lot of stuff going on here. And I'm going to show you options, all different options, and so that you can choose based on budgetary constraints and or what you like, what you think your style will be. So journals. My second journal was just a regular old Mead composition book. What I did was just glue 2 pages together at a time to create a little heavier background, maybe sometimes 3. What's fun about these is that, less intimidating, and you can create pockets and a whole bunch of other goodness there. So don't be afraid to use this. I'm going to use it again. I liked it that much. Next, you can hand bind your own. If you got lucky enough to have a Bind It All or the newsletter one or whatever it's called, but heavyweight paper in here. You can use watercolor paper. This is more poster board because I like flat surfaces. But there's lots of watercolor books, bound books that you can buy at Michael's or the art store. I just thought this one was cool because look how long it is. Next is the Moleskine. Some people pronounce them differently. This one's almost full. You need to look for the one that says large sketchbook. It has heavier weight paper. This one actually wasn't the sketchbook, it was just the regular textbook paper, text weight paper. And what I do again is glue 2 pages together. So see how thin that is? I've glued 2 pages together throughout my entire journal. So what it's going to do though, you'll see wrinkles. Some people may not like that. I like that effect. So to me, that was fine. I have worked in the sketchbook. One thing you got to remember, if you like to add a lot of layers and 3D embellishments, the Moleskine journals just aren't for you. Plus they're a little bit pricey, so you can see there that my binding's already starting to bend. I'm almost done the book, but I like it because of its size. Again, in the Moleskine line, they have watercolor sketchbooks. So this one has watercolor paper on the inside, much thicker. Obviously, it's got a texture to it. I wanted to show you quickly. Here's that same technique that I showed in the watercolor crayon class with regular watercolor paint. So also works with that. And then there's a vibrant one. So again, it's all up to you. If you want to start out cheaply, buy a composition book and go nuts. You remember that gessoing paper is going to make the page dirtier. And anyway, so next on to brushes and things. You got to get yourself a water brush. This one I think is cheaper. There's some expensive ones made by Sakura Koi, but very fun. Basic old foam brushes are always good, especially for applying gesso if you don't want to get any brush strokes. Very fun. I have a lot of one-stroke painting type brushes from Michael's, and I really like them. This is a big 1.5 inch. I also bought these cool brushes. They're from just at Michael's, or Craft Smart by Royale. It was a set of 3. I think they were like 12 Canadian for 3 brushes. So they're somewhere in between the cheap brushes and the real expensive ones. I have some expensive ones, especially in the sizes that I like to use. But play around with it, right? You don't want to necessarily, I believe in good tools produce good results, but it depends on your style. And then palette knives. These are just the cheap plastic ones. You can buy a bag of them from Michael's really cheap, but so fun for spreading gesso and mediums and all that goodness. So get yourself a pack of those. They're really, really cheap. Next, gesso. We talked about this in my video, so check out my demystifying acrylics video for beginners, and you'll hear about that. Here's my big value series of basics. Much cheaper, obviously, than the Golden brand, but it is grittier. Has more grit to it. So test them out, see what you like. If it's just going to be your first layer, maybe it doesn't matter to you what you put on afterwards. So gesso, definitely a must-have. Then we go on to acrylic paints. So again, watch my first demystifying acrylics for beginners. In that video I talked about the Golden series, set of 6 that you can buy at Blick's. I think Michael's or some of the other craft stores might sell them too, but these are the 6 colors you get: white, yellow, black, blue, green, and red. So it's a kind of a good base color. You can mix any of the colors you want. Mix any of these together to get any color, you know, in the rainbow that you want. If you don't want to spend the big bucks on the golden tubes, you know, you can go to Michael's, buy the basics kinds. You can see these are well used and abused. There's nothing wrong with this. This is, you know, student grade acrylic, so they're fun to use. Reeves also has some acrylics. I bought a whole pack of this small one. It's not going to focus on me today. So still fun to use. Watercolor, I bought these as well. This is the Watercolor Essentials brand. Sorry, made by Royal. I think Reeves sells some too. These are tube watercolors. They're fun to use. They're very cheap for a whole set. And what you can do is buy, I got this tip from Diana Trout, who's just awesome. She has a cool book called Journal Spilling. If you like watercolor stuff, check out her book. It's really, really cool. That's, I'll say it again, that's Journal Spilling by Diana Trout. So anyways, in that book she shows us that you can put those tube watercolors on a palette and they dry on there, and then you just take your mini mister, your little mini mister, spray it, and it reconstitutes the watercolor. So, you know, check out tube watercolors, and I've just used the cheap ones because, you know, I'm still, watercoloring for me is something that I haven't mastered yet. So on to the watercolor we showed you. You can get some watercolor crayons. They're also fun, give you a little different look, more detailed obviously. Those are watercolor pencils, I apologize guys. More detailed than the watercolor crayons. These are Staedtler brand. I won't go into the different brands again. Check out my vid on demystifying watercolor crayons if you want to see the different types. Back to acrylic paints. I know this is a repeat from some of the people that have watched my video, but so we got golden fluid acrylics here. They're a little expensive, but they're so fun. Tri-bottle, you know, you can buy the cheaper brands of fluid acrylics. Regular craft paint, that's, you know, all you can afford. There's absolutely nothing wrong with craft paint. I use it in combination with the other kinds. Again, check out my Demystifying Acrylics video and you'll see all the differences. Also, I got some Ranger Studio paint by Claudine Helmuth that I've been playing around with. I really like the texture, you know, the consistency of that kind as well. So quickly we're going to go into mediums. So I have some multi-medium in gloss. It's definitely thinner than the other type of gel mediums that I use, but you know, fun to use. I actually was looking at this yesterday and it says, or this morning, and it's acid free, so that's fun. Not sure if my Goldens are acid free. I'll have to check that out. So regular gel medium and matte, this is an essential. This is the best glue ever that you can ever use for anything. It's thick. This is what you can use to use your transfers, your gel medium transfers. The best glue, can create texture. I really suggest a regular gel matte. You're going to go into the glossy gel medium. Glossy's cool if you want to do some paintings or canvases or something, you know, on wood that you're going to be hanging up. Check out the glossy. Try not to use it in your journal because your pages will stick together, and that's not fun for anybody. On the same line of mediums and stuff, this is really cool. I'm going to be doing tutorials on this one, guys. Light modeling paste, molding paste. This is so light and fluffy. It's like marshmallows. Marshmallow paste, but it's fun. You want to put it in your stencil to create different textures, and oh, it's goodness in a jar right there. And then Arlene showed in her video the glass gel beads. Liquitex sells a brand. I know that she has the Golden brand, but there are cheaper alternatives than the Golden. You can check out Liquitex. I've used this for a while. I've had this jar for years, and like at least 4 years, and it's still kicking and it's still good. So I'm gonna go on to part 2 because I have a whole bunch, well, not a whole bunch, a few more things to show you, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching so far.